Welcome! Welcome everyone to the practical course dedicated to Substance Painter automation using Python. My name is Vyacheslav Makhenko. I'm a full-time technical artist working at Ubisoft for more than 5 years. During this time, I was involved in various AAA game development projects including Watch Dogs 3, Far Cry 6, and as of recording this course, my beloved project Beyond Good and Evil 2. Within this course, we will build a comprehensive custom textures exporter using Substance Painter Python API. The tool will address the need of project-wide convenient and consistent export from Painter with smart validations for texture set names and resolutions. The course is mainly intended for people who provide tools to automate pipelines, such as technical artists, tools programmers, tech, pipeline directors, or people from automation teams. But since I will explain every step of the implementation in detail, starting from the very basic concepts, everyone interested in this topic will be able to consciously follow up, even people with no prior experience in Python or programming overall. Now I'm going to share with you a short live demo of the tool itself in its final form. So here we are in Substance Painter with a well-known, slightly modified sample scene that contains 3 texture sets. Let's load our custom exporter by clicking on this orange button and pin it to the left part of the screen. We will start discovering the widget with the help doc available on this blue icon. Upon clicking on it, a new PDF file is opened. It contains information about the user interface, all the features the tool has, and describes the rules used for texture set name and resolution validations. The supported asset types and export presets, as well as rules for generating export paths and performing validations, are subject to change to meet your specific needs. I was just using some data for showcasing the functionality overall, but be sure that you will be able to adjust it for your own specific needs with no problems. Returning back to the tool to see it in practice. So let's start by specifying the asset type in this drop-down list. Here we have props, weapons, and characters. By changing the asset type, we change the generated export path as well as updating validation rules. Speaking of rules, we have a dedicated column that shows the validation status for each texture set. If either of the validations, and as a reminder we validate texture set name and resolution, fails, then we prevent export of this texture set, making all the items related to it grayed out, and providing validation details as a tooltip. As you see, validation has failed for texture set number 1 and passed OK for texture set number 2 and number 3. If we hover our cursor over the red mark, we will see what exactly went wrong during the validation and how to fix it. In this case, it's a name validation fail with saying that the first acronym for prop texture set should start with prop, but the current acronym is different, char. So user knows what exactly is wrong and how to fix it. Now let me demonstrate the resolution validation error. Let's get back to the help doc to check the maximum allowed resolution for props asset types. We see that it is 1 by 1 key. So let's set it to 2K and see what happens. So I select a second texture set that for now has validation status OK and increase resolution to 2K and do a refresh in the exporter. Okay, we see that the resolution is now set to 2K in the widget and as expected validation is failed. But we also have an additional dialog widget. It appears when the tool finds the resolution issue and asks user permission to automatically adjust all the resolutions to meet the specified budget requirements. Luckily, in Substance Painter API, there is a way to control the texture set resolutions settings from code, so let's use this benefit. We click Yes, apply the required resolutions for all texture sets, and we see that the resolution returned back to 1K, and it is green again. Two other minor settings are those checkboxes. Personal export is to specify whether the export path should be generated in the official project path or in personal. Export checkboxes is to specify either this specific texture set should be exported overall or be skipped. When the validation is failed for texture set, the export checkbox is unchecked automatically and disabled so the user cannot check it back until validation is passed. Lastly, shader types. Those drop boxes used to specify export presets used during export of that specific texture. I've created a few different export presets for showcasing and described them in the help doc as well. Okay, let's finally export our textures. For the sake of demonstration, I will change the shader type for the last texture set, let's say to armament, and hit export. As a result, tool opens the created folders with exported textures. We see that the basic folder has only 4 textures and the type PNG is used, while for the armament we have 5 textures. Additional height channel is supported for these export presets and textures of type TGA. That was a short live demonstration of the tool in its final form that we will build together from scratch. Now I'm returning back to the presentation to quickly describe structure of this course. It consists of 6 core sections. First one is dedicated to general Python introduction, which is intended to help people with no experience in this programming language become prepared for the actual interesting stuff of this course. It is optional and can be skipped for people who know the basics of Python already, which is up to classes. Then, once equipped with foundations, we will jump straight to the Substance Painter and create our first custom widget that will be used as a basement for an upcoming exporter tool. We will use this widget to get acquainted with Substance Painter Python API as well as PySite library to build the user interface for the tool. In the third core section, we will actually create the automated exporter. Its goal is to quickly and reliably export all the textures in just a few clicks, as you saw. Fourth section will be dedicated to enhancing our custom exporter by introducing naming validation for the texture sets. The tool will verify that the user gave proper name to the texture set and generate corresponding export paths, so different types of assets will be stored in different locations using predefined rules, which is a must for healthy production in a team. Section number 5 will move the exporter one more level higher in advancement by introducing validation for the texture set resolutions. This feature would verify that everyone in the team who is exporting the data from Painter is following the specified texture resolution budget and therefore prevent any slippage through high-resolution textures usage on the project. And the last section is about polishing the project by adding help documentation, introducing hotkeys for the UI, improving code style by adding annotations, fixing leftover bugs, and discussing possible further development steps of this custom exporter. To sum up, this course is giving you the following: practical introduction to Python, hands-on experience working with Substance Painter API, and building dynamic user interface using PySite library, which all result in a unique custom exporter tool developed step by step together from scratch that can be used for personal portfolio or as a basement for actual production pipeline in the project. Ready to start? But before rolling down to coding, I'm inviting you to watch one more, this time quick introductory lecture about how to use this course to get the most out of it. It is very important. Thank you and see you there.